Hi, Andy here, and welcome back to Moorland Model Railway for this bonus video. Celebrating Scotland. Ooh, this is a nice one. So yes, this is a bonus video, and it's all about this, Stuck in the Mud, the diorama that I built for the WWS competition, and I won it. So I've put a little bit of a video together showing a few of the techniques that I used to do it and to have a look at the prize. So we'll have a look. Some really stiff opposition, some great, they were all brilliant, the dioramas that were in the competition. We had rally cars, we had war scenes, army scenes, we had, there was a farming scene, there was another vehicle stuck through a fence, there was a logging one with a steam donkey on. Absolutely brilliant. The things that people came up with are absolutely brilliant. So I'm really proud to win the competition in such stiff opposition. And I mustn't forget the Spitfire stuck in the river. That was another brilliant scene. So yeah, I'd just like to say thanks to the judges, Martyn, Craig, Sam, for choosing my model, and thanks for the great prize that we'll go and have a look at right now. So this is it then, this is the prize, alongside the model that I made, and it is an excellent prize. Couldn't believe it that I won, that's number one, but number two, it is an absolutely fantastic prize. So let's have a closer look at it. It is the WWS weathering station. It comes as a flat pack, you have to build it up, which is also good for your modelling skills. But it is really substantial once it's made up, it feels great. Just let me take these out, because they didn't come with it. I've just put my weathering muds in there. So that's how it comes. You get a couple of empty pots, and I got eight different weathering powders. So absolutely fantastic. Couldn't believe it for the price that I got. And this will really come in handy, especially as I'm doing a bit more weathering these days, especially on buildings and everything. So it's got storage drawers, and these two brushes came with it. They will be used. I've always got uses for brushes, but they look really good quality brushes, better quality than I normally use. As I said, you get some empty pots, which are very useful for mixing, and these storage drawers. So yeah, that's great. So there you can see I've got some more weathering powders. I'd already got some, so I do use them. You can never have too many weathering powders. And you get a whole load of spatulas as well to use. So yeah, very, very impressed. Goes together really quite easily. And as I've said, couldn't believe that I'd won it. Fabulous prize. So Martyn and the team at WWS, thank you very much. It is a brilliant product and it will be used. Okay, so this is the model that I actually won the competition with. I was really pleased with how it came out. It was a little bit of a rush getting it all together, but it was really enjoyable. It was an enjoyable model to make. A number of people have made comments about how the mud looks, how the water looks, how did I do this, how did I do that, and although I did put a video out sort of showing how I got to this end result, I thought I'd just go through a few of the techniques and just show you how I did it and what materials I used to get this look of winter in the Peak District. We'll start with the vehicles. These three vehicles are all Oxford die-cast. That one is in its original colour and that one's in its original colour, but the green one, that started off as blue, and it was a dark blue and it said police on it, and I didn't like that, so I thought best not have a policeman stuck in the mud. So I painted it, and it's basically just been painted with ordinary acrylic paints. Then I weathered them, so they were weathered with various things, so weathering powders, and also I used the mud, so I've used the mud to weather them as well. The aerials have been fitted, so I made those up, all these three aerials. That one's a little bit bent, must be blowing in the wind, either that or I've caught it. So the three aerials I've made, drilled a hole in the top, stuck them in, and the spotlights are 3D printed by fine shed ring. They're shed ring hobbies, and I just painted them up and glued them on. So basically that's how that has been done. The figures, I'm sure that Martyn won't mind me advertising a few other products on here because they enhance the WWS products. So the figures are fine scale figures. They're 3D printed obviously, and they come as a plain grey colour, so they're that colour, and then I spray them white. There we go. So they come on these little plinths, as they do when they've been 3D printed. And as I've said, they're then primed with white and just left until I need to paint them. So you saw how they came as the grey, and then I obviously spray them, and then I paint them up into the varying colours. And I do use acrylic paint, ordinary bog standard artist acrylic paint with brushes, and they're quite small to do. But I've also started using these paint marker pens, and they're really quite good. They're water based. So once they're painted with the pens or the ordinary acrylic paint, then I actually varnish them either with the satin, matte or gloss varnish, whichever is applicable. Most of my figures I do with satin. And if you've not seen these before, they're actually quite good, because these are brushes. So it comes as a fine brush, and then you can actually paint really quite finely with them. So it comes with a pointed brush head. Really good. So you can either get those, or fiddle about and open these up. They come with a very fine nib on. There we go. The mud effects, we'll do those next. They were done by using a mixture of brown clay and dark brown, both dry mud. They were put into place. I manipulated them round with a stick so that they got the grooves, all these little grooves in and everything, and put it all around the Land Rover, and then I let it dry. Once it was dry, I then covered it in clear model water. Just a really thin coat, and then let that dry, and that is the final effect. It looks like there's running water on top of the mud. It looks like wet mud and with running water on top of it. The winter grass. I decided in the end to make grass tufts, loads and loads of grass tufts. Looking at the landscape around where I live here in the Peak District, you get a lot of these rushy type tufts everywhere on wet ground. So that is the sort of look that I was going for. And these were made using my static grass applicator or my Pro Box. The tufts were mainly made by the Pro Box. Fantastic bit of tool. It does make a mess. So you just put loads of paper down. You can use the grass again, but it is really good. It's a brilliant tool. And these are a few of the tufts that I've got left over. They will come in on other jobs. Okay, I don't have them as full tufts. I don't just have them blobs. I make them all different shapes, different sizes, and I like to show the mud through on the landscape, so it wasn't just a matter of covering them in grass. So to get this winter effect, these are the grasses basically that I used. 2mm and 4mm patchy, 4mm wild meadow and 4mm dead grass. They were the four main grasses. I used a little bit of the 6mm. I just think 6mm is a little bit long. It's okay for the tufts, but it is a little bit long for me. It's just my personal opinion. I prefer to use 4mm. That sort of means the grass is about 12 inches long. 18-inch depth of grass. You get it, but it's not something that we would get in the winter as much. So those are the main grasses, and then there was a little bit of muddy 4mm muddy added to some of the tufts, just to give it that little bit of green. Just looking at the rusty fencing, basically it's this sort of meshy type material that you can buy, and then I just cut it, I put sellotape on it and cut it into strips, and then I paint it using this rusted paint. I just find it easy to paint with that. You can do it with weathering powders, obviously, but I just did it with that for speed, really. The fence posts are made out of this material. These are the reeds that you get in those smelly tub things that you shove them in, and then the smell sort of comes up. I don't know what they're called, but these are the reeds from them. So once they're used and I dry them out, I then cut them down and paint them. So here's a few that I made earlier. If I can get into the camera, there we go. So they're all painted and then they're just stuck in. I find them about the right size. Scale size. And they smell nice as well. Makes the layout smell really nice. One thing though, to Sam and Craig, you actually missed the crow that's sitting on the end of the post there. Along with the crow sitting on that rock, and then there's another one sitting in that tree. So yeah, so I did actually add loads of different animals in. You can see the fox as well there, just in at the back. And they were all added in just for a little bit of fun and a little bit of extra onto the layout, onto the model, giving it a bit more life. The water effect, and it keeps going light for some reason. That's better. I was really pleased with how this came out. And a few people have asked me how I did it, so this is it, this is how I did it. Okay, so I'll try and do this without getting a reflection into it. So this is basically a piece of black plastic card, and on top of the black plastic card I have stretched out ornery cling film and then just taped it at the back. So that's just stretched out and taped. Basically, you don't want too many creases. So this is basically how I did the weirs, the flowing water over the weirs. So this is what I used, and it's reflecting a little bit. There we go. Just ordinary silicone sealant, and this is the translucent, as you can see there. A little bit ripped off, but it's translucent. Other makes are obviously available. Then basically all that I did, I'm trying to do this backwards as well, put a few stripes of this material and you can have them lengthways as well. If you've got a big long weir that you want to make, or a big fall of water, you then get a cocktail stick, a nice clean one, and basically all it is, and I'm trying to do that, hopefully it doesn't go out of focus, is you just stretch this material out. Just have to take your time with it. You don't want it too thick. And basically you just keep stretching it and stretching it. That's one done. I won't show you doing them all. Okay, so you just keep stretching these out until you've got the effect that you want actually. Like I say, you don't want any creases in really. It does go a long way, so you think you've got a lot on there, or you haven't got enough, I should say. It does go a long way. Those are then left to dry. So then they're left to dry for overnight basically. Then you can either cut them out or peel them off. They do peel off quite easily, and it's amazing when you then put them onto the weirs how good they look. So we're now 24 hours on, and this is the water, and you can either peel these off or you can cut them off. Some people cut them around and keep the plastic on, or you can peel them off. I'll just show you, this is dead easy, it just all peels off. You just have to be very careful. Let's move that away. And there you have your water. So if you want to have a water scene where it's sort of flowing down, I haven't got a scene at the moment, so it's a bit difficult, but you could have your water, you just glue it in at the top and the water flows down. You glue it at the bottom just so that it sticks, so that it looks like there's a bit of a waterfall. And then, like I say, you cover that in your sort of water material on top of it. It just makes it go a bit hard. So basically that's how I did it. I won't try and say that it's my idea. It's something that I saw Kathy Millett do a few years ago now, and so I thought I'd try it out, and it does work. And because this is translucent, you can see through it like you would see through normal water. So when you put your product on, it does really look quite realistic. So that was then glued onto the rocks that make the weirs up. So there's a number of weirs here, one a bit lower down. That was then glued with the same translucent sealant just on the back, and then stretched over the tops of the rocks and then left to dry again. Then that was then covered with the water material. So you can either use the, if you're using the WWS deep water. I didn't actually have any at the moment, and I didn't have chance to get any. So basically what I got in stock was this. I can get it in picture. Deluxe Materials Aqua Magic. It's exactly the same sort of stuff, but this is already mixed, so you don't have to mix it. It does shrink, so, and it does take longer than the 24 hours to dry, and you can only put thin layers on. So that's basically what I use it for, just to put a thin layer of water on a stream or something. If I want deep water, then I would use the WWS, or other products obviously are available. But you know, as this is a WWS competition, put the photo back in place. Just stick on, just a photograph sticks on. So yeah, so that is then covered on the top, and then sort of just pulled down over the top of it, and then let it run down so that it's a little bit more natural. It seals it all, and then I use the cream again, the clear model water cream, which is the stuff that we've seen already, and that's how I make the sort of splashes. So they're just all, it's just this cream just put on with one of these sticks. Turn it round, you can see that I've used it, and then I just keep, once it starts drying out, just keep pulling it up. If you watch Modelling with Martyn, he does a great job of this with a fish jumping, and you just keep pulling it up, and eventually it sticks to exactly where you want it to be. And then you leave it and let it dry, and then that is just painted then with acrylics, just cheap water acrylics. So all these weirs have been done exactly the same. I mean, it says clear water. Let's see if I can get a better. So that water does come out clear, and then on the top, once again, I use the clear model water, and I put all these different sort of movements of the water, really. So look at photographs and see how water flows. So I try and make it look like it's a flowing water. And basically, once again, it was done with this stick, or one of these pieces of sticks. Just get a little bit of the modelling water on the end of it, and then just sort of, this sort of action, pushing it forward. See how it looks. If it looks okay, leave it. If it doesn't, put a bit more on. Just keep. It's just a trial and error thing. And luckily, it came out all right. So where I wanted to show that the water was a little bit flowing a bit faster because it's gone a bit narrower, I made the top of the water look a little bit more rough. And as you can see, as it comes through the rocks there, it's down here, it's just sort of flowing, and then it comes into this rougher bit here. And the same with this bit here. All this, it's just a matter of, like I say, trial and error until you get it right. And then over the top of that is, like I say, it's just acrylic. It's dry brush, hardly anything on the brush. Just take your time, don't try and do it all at once. And you get the right effect. Or what I should say, I got the effect that I wanted. The same with this bit at the top. I did it exactly the same, just move that out of the way. Did it exactly the same. The cream on one of these little sticks, or a cocktail stick. I think I used a cocktail stick for this bit. Just put the cream on and then just kept stroking it back, so that it looked like the water was flowing. So I was getting it so that it sort of looked like it was flowing over the top of that weir. I didn't do it all at once. That took about 2 or 3 days to do. So I'd do a little bit, let it dry, put a bit more on, let it dry, put a bit more on, let it dry, just to get that single effect. And once again, painted it. And the weirs were painted as well. So the rocks and the weirs were made out of these stones, stubborn stones, go a long way. And then the base of the stream was covered in just cheap grey ballast, any cheap grey ballast. That was then painted and all sealed into place before I put the water product on. The trees are just basic seafoam trees that I've bought. I've had these a long time. I do need some more. and I've seen that WWS are putting some more tree products out in the market, so that's what I shall be looking at. But they were just bog standard seafoam, painted brown, and then hopefully trying to make them look a little bit more like silver birch, so that I painted bits white on there. And I tried to get them to represent the trees that were on the back scene, the back scene photograph, which it was a really windy day. As you know, we've just had some really windy days, and this was a windy day, and those trees were blowing, so I thought I'd try and get them to look like the trees were being blown. As you can see, that one's really bent over, so that they matched the trees on the back scene. Just put the back scene in place. So, as you can see, hopefully that's what came over. So one of the comments I did see was technically they're on a track when it said there's no tracks. Well, technically they're not on a track, because the track is technically this side of the gate, and where it says no motor vehicles, they didn't want motor vehicles going any further. They're actually on just off-roading. There's no sort of track. At the top end of the model, we'll have a look at that. So the top end of the model, where the walkers are, there's no tracks at all, because it's just basically a wet flush that these guys have decided to go and drive up, as they do. And the whole thing was actually based on a few scenarios that I did actually come across while I was working. People just driving off-road and not knowing the routes and getting stuck. And so myself and my colleagues did have to tow quite a few out of difficult places. So no, so there wasn't a track, they're not on a track, they're on open moorland. Hence, no tracks. So that's the little bonus video complete. Once again, I'd just like to say thanks very much to Martyn and the team at WWS, who provide us with these great products, and for providing the competition prize, which is absolutely, once again, I've got to say, it's absolutely fantastic. I couldn't believe I'd won it, but I couldn't believe what the prize was. I was looking at actually getting one of these. I think I need another one for my muds and everything, but hey ho. So yeah, so thanks very much. It was a great competition to be in. Some great models in the competition, as I've said, and I'm just really pleased. So thanks very much. So thanks very much for watching. That's the end of the video. Like I said, I'm really proud to have won this competition. I still can't believe it, but I have won it. So yeah, thanks very much. Thanks to the judges, thanks to WWS for the prize, and I will see you next time in a couple of weeks with the March update, where there will definitely be running trains, I promise.